Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Namaskar.
Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar, one and all.
Our speakers also have joined. We will start shortly.
Very good. No problem. I'm there.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Committee, can we start?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Aradhana. Yes, Aradhana.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, a little bit louder.
Okay.
Principal sir is there.
Okay, ma'am.
I'm not sure whether vice principal sir has joined. I think principal sir is there. Okay.
Okay, I'll start then.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Aradhana Mishra, a member of Data Science Student Association. Today, on this occasion, we are gathered here for the webinar on abroad studies organized by the Data Science Student Association, Lokmanya Tilak College of Engineering. On behalf of them, I would like to welcome all the participants and our eminent guest speakers, Mr. Neel Kamlesh Shah and Mr. Yash Ghatole. I would also like to welcome the principal of Lokmanya Tilak College of Engineering, Dr. Vivek Sunna Pawar sir, Vice Principal Dr. Subhash Sinde sir, HOD of the Data Science Department, Training and Placement Officer Prerna ma'am, and all the faculties of Lokmanya Tilak College of Engineering. I would like to request Nandini ma'am to say a few words.
Thank you, Aradhana. A very good morning to all. On behalf of Data Science Department, I heartily welcome our speakers, Principal Sir, Vice Principal Sir, our Training and Placement Madam, Prerna Madam, all HODs, faculties, and most valued participants. This program, organized by our esteemed members of Students Association, is an attempt to share some knowledge about the roadmap to abroad studies and data science from none other than speakers studying abroad. I wish most of us are benefited from this program. Thank you. Over to Aradhana.
Thank you, ma'am. I would now like to request Vice Principal Dr. Subhash Sinde sir to speak, to say a few words.
I think
I think he joined.
He joined. He joined.
Yes.
You just repeat the same.
Okay. Now I request Vice Principal to say a few words.
So please.
Yes, ma'am. I'm audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning and namaskar. Professor Nandini ma'am, faculty members, and dear students. First, I welcome the today's speaker, Yash, and Neil also. Yesterday, I received the call from Nandini ma'am. Today, there is one webinar. That webinar, the agenda behind this webinar or the topic behind this webinar is what's the experience when you go for the MS for study for higher education. At that time, what exactly the experience there, what you learn from in that environment, how you match into that environment. And I think the guidance will be given by the today's speaker, and that guidance will be help you for all the students when they will be move after completion of the degree into the abroad. So I'm sure so the lot of knowledge can the student gain in through this webinar, because many times we talk about the technical, but sometimes we need into that what is the real experience there and how exactly you learn the practical things when you move into the some different environment. And this webinar, it's overcome that particular the challenges, and that helps to the students. Once again, I thanks you all organizing committee to opportunity to give to me to interact with this all the students. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Over
sir.
to Aradhana.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to request our principal to say a few words.
Thank you. Namaskar. Good morning, one and all. Vice Principal Dr. Subhash, Head of Data Science, Professor Nandini, all my esteemed colleagues, student friends, and especially today's guest speakers, Neil and Yash. It's my proud privilege to welcome both of you. Nice to see both of you, and we are really happy and proud for your achievement. You're pursuing higher studies from top and renowned universities. So, being seniors and being students now abroad, having gone through the process of admissions and selecting universities and all the relevant things, I think your experience will be of immense help to our students, and that will definitely motivate many of them to pursue higher studies in their chosen areas, chosen fields. And definitely, this is a very good initiative, I should say, by the Students Association of Data Science Department, a budding and very young department. And I think this is their maiden program, I believe. So it's a well begun is half done. So I think in future also they will have a number of such activities for the benefit of students. So thank you once again, children, Data Science Students Association, faculty advisors, head of department, and today's speakers. I wish this program a grand success. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I hope you will excuse me. I have another assignment at 11:30. So I would have loved to hear both of them, but I think I will get feedback from Professor Nandini. Thank you very much. All the best. Good day.
Thank you. Our guest speakers for today's webinar are studying Masters in Computer Science at North Carolina State University. They have worked closely with data scientists in their previous work experience. Mr. Neil has worked as an associate software engineer in collaboration with data scientists, and Mr. Yash has worked as a data scientist at MU Sigma, a Bangalore-based company. We are excited to hear from you. Thank you. Over to you, speakers.
Over to Neil and Yash.
Thank you, professors, and thank you, distinguished faculty of the institute. Also, hearty thank you to the entire student committee to organize this I would say this discussion. And I think I'll give you a short overview of how we are planning to organize today's talk. So I think I and Yash will be sharing two different parts of the presentation. So we have prepared a small presentation for you all. So I'll start off with how usually the path to masters is, and Yash will take over and carry forward with more focus on data science. So Yash, if you can please share the screen and the presentation. Yeah. So next slide. So that is a short overview of how we are planning for today's discussion to go. So I'll start off with a broad study discussion. Yash will take over. He'll explain you a few data science concepts. Not data science concepts, but how to break into data science, and a few really good resources that he has collected through his career in data science and through his education. We will move forward, and we'll discuss also a few interview preparation articles and interview preparation. Basically, we also have some materials that we have accumulated there, so we'll be sharing those with you. And the last section is where we open up the floor for questions and answers. So next slide. So studying abroad and overview. So to be very open about this discussion, I mean, we will appreciate any kind of questions that come to your mind. You can either put it in the chat or forward it to the organizer, who can share them with us. Starting off, the first thing that comes to mind when
Neil, can you be a bit louder? a little
Sure.
bit.
Okay, sure. So yeah, the first thing that comes to one's mind, when they decide to study abroad is the country they want to go to, and making that decision is kind of crucial because each country has its own set of processes, own set of entrance tests, or any kind of other language test that they have, and that decision I think should be the first one that you make, and uh, before that decision is the decision to actually go outside of India and pursue your higher education outside of the country. Mostly because we have all been uh, most of us have been in within India while we pursue our bachelor's education, and we really do not get an opportunity or exposure to go outside of the country and get a feel of the culture, get a feel of the environment that is there outside the country. So I think that should be the first decision that you make, that yeah, really you really want to go outside the country and study. Uh, Along with that comes the decision that you want to work for a couple of years and then go, or do you want to directly complete your bachelor's degree and then start pursuing a master's degree. So I think making up your mind on these things should be a good starting point. And you are never too late, you are never too early in these kind of decisions. People decide in their final year of engineering that they want to pursue like higher education, and then there are people who work for a couple of years and then they go ahead and decide that yeah, let's go ahead and pursue some higher education. So yeah, next slide. So to start off, what we generally need is these set of uh, checklists. I would say you start off with the first decision when you make that you want to study abroad. If the USA is one of the countries that you shortlist when you decide on them, GRE is usually a basic requirement to any and all applications that you want to make. And while COVID actually made some exceptions to these entrance tests, these are always optional but recommended in these applications. So a good GRE score will definitely boost your chances into what kind of universities actually you should go ahead and apply to. So uh, uh, GRE scores in general, I will just give you a short overview of it. It has three different sections. So you can either you could get either section in any kind of order. So there's like two quantitative, two verbal, or any kind of permutation combination of these two sections, and a section where you need to write a couple of essays in the beginning of the test. So the GRE scores are usually uh, 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 people usually, the moment they decide that they want to go for higher education, they go ahead and start preparations for GRE. And then once you have a GRE score, a lot of people ask this, that how many times can we give a GRE. So as such, there is no limit to GRE, but there's like a certain number of days. I'm not sure what is the exact number of days, but there's like a certain number of days that you need to wait for before you can retake that particular exam. And these exams are usually pretty costly. So people wouldn't take more than 2 or 3 attempts at these tests, because then you would not expect to outperform your previous tests as much as it is going to cost you. So that's the first thing. The next thing that comes is TOEFL or IELTS. Another very common question people have is, you want to go for TOEFL, you want to go for IELTS. This question is very subjective. I don't think there's like a concrete answer to that. If you are very firm that you just want to apply to the US universities in the US, you should go ahead for any of TOEFL and IELTS. Although TOEFL is, I believe TOEFL is more widely accepted through universities, and if you believe that you want to go ahead and apply to United States, Canada, Australia, also some European countries, IELTS is the exam you should go for, because it is accepted across these countries. Uh, uh, Again, one step before this, I would like to mention is that you shortlist these countries, and also you start shortlisting these universities that you want to apply to, or the target schools that you want to apply to. The reason I say that is because each school has its own procedure. So in India, we have always grown up in an environment that you give a common entrance test, or you give an entrance exam, and then there's like a centralized process to seat allocation, or getting an admission to your university. So uh, uh, these countries do not necessarily follow a centralized approach. Uh, what they would have is, each college would have their requirements listed on their website. So that would have GREs, their TOEFLs, if TOEFL is accepted, if IELTS is accepted by them, and then the number of letters of recommendation they need. It usually goes from two to three, and then they would ask you for a statement of purpose, or a personal letter, or a personal statement where you are explaining, how much research have you conducted so far, and what are you looking to achieve in the future, and why this particular university, and what in particular excites you about that university, and what opportunities are you looking for at this university. So that's what I would say. Shortlist your country, shortlist your universities, and then start deciding what exams you want to take, what kind of tests you want to take, and within this, and as you move ahead in these process, start approaching your professors, start approaching your if you are already working, start approaching your managers to get letters of recommendations from them. A lot of times they would sit with you and discuss as to how you want it to be, and yeah, so that usually depends on the person you are asking your letters of recommendation from. So plan that a little bit in advance, because the application is incomplete unless and until all the letters of recommendation are submitted to them, and that is usually dependent on the people you are asking these letters from. So start a little bit early with that. And statement of purpose is again different to each university. Like for example, North Carolina State University, it has a limit of 500 words. Some universities have a limit of 1,000 words. Some do not even have a limit. So that depends on university to university. So again, that boils down to shortlisting your countries and universities very very meticulously, so that you don't need to go and write these letters again and again, and you don't want to. And these letters are usually tedious in nature, so these have to be descriptive as to what have you done so far in your career or your education that really that really convinces the university that this student is going to contribute to that research, or that you will be a good student there. I have also mentioned transcripts there. Transcripts are usually issued by the University of Mumbai, or your particular university, if it's like an autonomous or any kind of university. So the university you are studying from, you should request it from there. Again, the timelines differ. It usually takes like a couple of months if to get them. So again, plan ahead in time for those. So yeah, so a lot of what you guys must be hearing, is that plan ahead, and I think that's key to successfully applying to whatever you wanted to apply to. I think planning well in ahead for each of these things uh, should and would reduce the amount of stress you will have to take through these applications, because uh, uh, one thing that's not listed on there is patience. So once you complete these applications, you need to patiently wait for a couple of months for them to evaluate your applications and roll out admissions. So usually what happens is a lot of universities roll out admissions in batches. So so a lot of times you will hear your friends get a decision, and you would still be waiting for it, and that just increases kind of anxiety in you, as to why haven't you received a decision yet. So they are probably taking time to evaluate, or there's a lot of reasons for that. So you need to patiently wait. Once you apply, you need to patiently wait to get these admits, and then you evaluate what admits you get. You evaluate the cost of education, and then you start applying for you usually start applying for your loan a little early in the process again, because there are like different organizations, like to name a few, HDFC Credila and ICICI are a few of the most common names you will hear for people taking loans for higher education. So you would want to then estimate how much it is going to cost you. If you need to take a loan, you would then start that process, once you start receiving admits. So that would be a very general timeline. While this can differ for each country, this is more towards the US, because that's what I have experienced, and that's what I am more familiar with. So next slide. Yeah. So I think I wanted to cover a few things which I already covered in the previous slide. So TOEFL or IELTS, that's one very common question. Depends on the countries you are shortlisting. For US, generally people go for TOEFL because it is conducted by ETS, and ETS also conducts GRE. So usually it's the same organization conducting these two different exams. So you kind of expect a similar format and similar centers for it. Uh, Grades, how important they are. So a lot of people ask, how important grades are. Uh, Very honestly, they are important for your application because uh, from the university you are applying to, from their point of view, it is just a measure of whether you will be able to tackle the kind of pressure or tackle the kind of education these universities provide to you, and be successful with that. So they are kind of important. So sometimes people get backlogs. I think that's a little common sometimes. So that usually does not create a major roadblock. Uh, but I would recommend getting to a good GPA or a good cumulative GPA by the end of your degree, so that when you are starting your applications, uh, uh, at least by that point get to a good point with your grade points, so that you that's basically a proof of the fact that you are able to perform with these subjects even on paper. So another decision is making another decision you need to make is whether you want to study in India or pursue some years of maybe work in India before coming to the US. So there are different kinds of people. I mean, I wanted to come directly after my bachelor's. I directly wanted to hop onto masters. One major reason was because I did not want to take a break with my education. So you are in a flow of studying. You don't want to spend a few years not studying and then again get to studying. So I just wanted to complete my education in one flow. Although COVID disrupted that, I had to work in India for a year before I could join my master's program. That still works well. And similarly, yes, actually worked at Mu Sigma. It's a Bangalore-based organization. He was a data scientist there. So people. So that's a personal choice, I would say. And which country in specific, that's again a personal choice. Um, Next slide. Yeah. So handing over to Yash, I think he'll take this off much better. Yeah. Yes, please continue.
Yeah. Grace, can you hear me? Am I audible? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, first of all, like I would like to congratulate the faculty and student association to starting this initiative. It's pretty interesting though, although it's in the initial phase, but I hope that this would grow on and more students would be able to contribute towards this. So yeah, it's a pretty exciting initiative, I would say, and all the best for it. So yeah, I'm Yash, and I am currently a master's student in computer science here at North Carolina State University. Prior to that, I worked as a full-time data scientist for almost 2 years back in India. So yeah, so I would like to touch upon like these three key points regarding the data science. Majority is the data analysis, machine learning, and the ML ops. So there is a certain kind of myth that is, I mean, everyone might have heard on LinkedIn or some of the social media that data science is not all about the machine learning or some fancy stuffs like creating models or something. It's more about the exploratory data analysis, getting insights out of it, extracting the recommendations so that you could convey all those insights to the business stakeholders so that they could consume those and put those on their productions. However, I would say through my experience that I have worked on both ends. I have personally worked on a couple of projects wherein the first project that involved the data analysis onto the digital marketing side for one of the CPG giant. The second project that I worked on was primarily focused on computer vision and machine learning modeling, definitely. So I would say it depends on role to role and company to company which clients you work on. Like since I work on a client facing environment, so some other might work on the product based environment wherein again it depends like what kind of team you are in right now and what kind of work that you are adapted to. So it depends. So to start with, like first of all, data science is primarily, I mean, starts with the data analysis, for which I have shared a couple of the resources over here which I've accumulated so far, that I feel like these are pretty helpful resources So for exploratory data analysis, I would recommend you to watch this Shashank Kalaniti videos. He do the data analyst. He's a freelancer, and yeah, he works with the data set of more than GBs and everything, and perform data analysis for few business roles. So I would recommend you guys to look for it. Moreover, like since data analysis is primarily focused on finding out the correlation, getting the findings out of the data so that you could build one insight and then give out a recommendation to the business stakeholders, like I mentioned, right? So for that, we need statistics to have a solid background to back our results, right? So for that, like these are the three resources that I've shared. Casey Kozikov is she's the chief decision scientist at Google. Josh Starmer is a professor at Duke University, and Professor Isa, she teaches the statistics pretty well. So these are some of the resources that I would like to share with you guys. And again, once you are done with your data analysis, now you have to project your results as well. So most of the times, like how in my work environment, what we did is we were showcasing our results onto the PowerPoint presentations, and we were creating storyboardings or storyboarding decks that we used to call in the work environment. But nowadays, I've seen a lot of the business stakeholders are into the real-time analysis. So they do wanted to see like how things are moving onto the real-time basis. What are the key insights that they could generate on the fly, for which dashboarding is pretty necessary nowadays. So for that, I have shared one of the resources created by Abhishek Agarwal. And again, if you guys are interested into the books as well, so there is this starting off guide with practical statistics for data scientists by O'Reilly publication. So I would recommend you to guys go through this for if you need to understand the data analysis. So yeah, initially, if I personally wanted to start data science from now, I would personally start with doing some data analysis first. And although I would not be able to complete all of these three resources that I've shared with you, but at least start with some of this. You might get hold of it. And then once you feel certain confidence about like, hey, I can now create one findings, and then I can build one insight and recommendation based on the data set. So yeah, I forgot to mention one more thing. Like for data analysis, another thing that can be referred as the Kaggle notebooks. You guys might have heard of it. So in that, like there are multiple open source notebooks available wherein you could see like what all other peoples are performing their analysis, and how they are using visualizations to create a specific insight. So that certainly helps, and that would definitely give you an idea like how data analysis is performed and how a productionalized notebooks has to be created. I mean, the Jupyter notebooks has to be created. So those kind of certain ideas would be getting through the Kaggle notebooks, I would say. So that is one of the references I would also recommend you guys to look for. The second is the machine learning. So again, starting with the classical machine learning algorithms like the linear regression, support vector machines, uh, latent dirichlet analysis, and everything. So all those are the initial standpoints for the machine learning. So for that, like everyone might have heard of is Andrew Ng. Like Andrew, no, he does he has one course on Coursera with deeplearning.ai given by Stanford University. So he teaches pretty well. I mean, he's really good in it. And again, he has a couple of startups that he found out right now. Other than that, like I've shared this GitHub material. So in this GitHub link, you would find every other topics listed, like start from classical machine learning algorithms to their YouTube videos, their implementations, and based on that, like uh, what all projects are involved currently. So in that way, like these GitHub link is being shared. Other than that, in this link, I have seen is the deep learning stuffs as well related to natural language processing and computer vision. So you guys can also refer to this link. Uh, Also, other thing is that we primarily focus nowadays. I mean, what all machine learning that we see on an Uber level is really about binary classification or some kind of predictions or regressions. But we do forget is that there is another kind of forecasting that happens, which is time series. So I would highly recommend you guys to understand this time series forecasting and how it can be used in real time. So there is another thing which is stock predictions. That is one of the key projects for this time series forecasting. and it can be started from that as well. The other thing is, right now I'm seeing is that industry is being shifted towards the reinforcement learning. I've seen a couple of companies that are using reinforcement learning right now, and they are hiring for those roles as well. Specifically Spotify, they do hire engineers who are primarily whose research primarily focused in reinforcement learning. So I would recommend you guys to have a look at this YouTube playlist by DeepMind. Again, it has been acquired by Google. They developed some open source projects like AlphaGo and AlphaFold. They have developed recently a drug discovery model. What that particular model does is it creates a protein structure if you give a certain kind of components, and it will be able to predict the protein structure of the compound. So that's pretty awesome. Apart from that, the books that I would recommend is the Hands-on Machine Learning, again by O'Reilly, which involves technologies such as TensorFlow and Scikit. Other than that, like once you are done with the implementation, I would recommend not go straight away to mathematics first, but first try hands-on and understand these videos, what these lecturers are talking about. And if you get hold of it, then I would recommend you to go onto the mathematics of the machine learning, because it's really high level calculus and linear algebra that goes inside, wherein visualization honestly is not really possible, because it's on pretty high dimensions. So to visualize that, those kind of stuff is pretty hard, and which is why I would recommend to start with hands-on first, so that you could gain some confidence while building things, right? And then when you are confident enough, you can switch to mathematics of it, so that you could be able to plug and play and do some trial and error to increase your accuracy, or whatever more use case that you are building upon. So the third thing is MLOps, which is productionalizing the machine learning models. Uh, so uh, so in the work environment, one of the major things that I worked upon is the MLOps. So creating a machine learning model is one thing. However, the deployment, wherein you need to use your machine learning model by third-party services or the user ends, you need to deploy your models onto the cloud environment, wherein there are specific challenges, like what is the cluster size to use. I mean, there are certain kind of bottlenecks since these machine learning models are pretty heavy, and also businesses don't want to spend much of their money, right? They wanted to be as frugal, but again, their accuracy shouldn't be compromised. So that kind of trade-off has to be understood, and then accordingly you have to productionalize your machine learning models. So for that, like once you train your machine learning model, you test it. Again, you are sure of what your model will do and what is your accuracy. I mean, create the confusion matrix if it is the classification problem. However, through productionalizing, like you need to have sanity checks, since your machine learning model might get stale, since your data is continuously changing, and since your predictions would also change, because your model is being trained on the old data, and you need to update your model. So versioning control for the machine learning model comes under MLOps. So you need to handle that as well. And for that, you need to provide certain kind of sanity checks, wherein whether your current model is outperforming your previous model or not. So that process has to be automated. I mean, no one would nowadays would require a particular guy working upon deploying the machine learning model manually onto the cloud server. You need to automate that process, like how we do the CI/CD pipeline nowadays to productionalize the software engineering products. So similarly with machine learning models as well, we need to provide code coverages, sanity checks, and then itself we can be sure of, like, yes, this model is performing better and we can deploy it. So these are some of the references links that I would like to share with you, and you could refer this to again start with productionalizing the code and how it works. So for that, I would recommend, since these cloud services are not open source or free for all, there are certain student discounts that can be offered on AWS. I feel AWS offers a student discount for, or probably for 1 or 2 months on trial. So you can try that. I guess Azure also provides student free trials. So yeah, that is one of the key things that can be explored by a student. Yeah, this is the thing these are the things that I wanted to share. Apart from that, like I would like to switch my conversation now to MS in data science right now. So when I applied to universities, I applied to primarily to three countries, in US, in Netherlands, and in Switzerland. I applied to these three countries primarily. So I would start with Europe first. So in Europe, the MSN data science is specifically more research based program. In general, in Europe, like if you opt for MS computer science in AI and MS data science in Europe, like they have this 120 credit system, which is really hectic. And again, those are pretty research based courses. If you have interest in thesis and building up thesis and going into research aspect further, I would highly recommend to go there. And apart from that, in United States, the MSDS program is more focused towards the industry works. They allow you to create. They allow you to have your capstone project for the final semester, so that you could. I mean, the capstone, how it works is that you will be working with a company. You will be allotted one mentor, and you are whole and sole responsible of your project. So you will be starting your project and then building it on your own, and then presenting it to the business executives, like the vice presidents or the stakeholders who will be consuming your product. So yeah, that is one of the key aspect or the key difference between the MS in data science program in United States and in Europe. Moreover, I also researched about the MS in data science program in Canada as well. There are a couple of universities. One is the University de Montreal. I would highly recommend to go to that university website and check out their MS Computer Science AI program. They have a superb machine learning lab. I am sure like you might have heard about Ian Goodfellow. He's a notable alumni from there. He was the head of data science. He was the head of machine learning in Apple, and he left a while back. But again, they have a good alumni connect, and their lab collaboration is with MIT and CMU, I mean Carnegie Mellon. So yes, and most of the deep learning founding fathers are from Canada. I mean, the Yoshia Bengio, Jan LeCun, those are from the University de Montreal. And again, Ian Goodfellow, like who created the generative adversarial networks. So, but again, for that particular university, you don't need to have you don't need to give IELTS or TOEFL, but you have to give a French exam, since Canada has this first language as French. So that is one of the requirement that is there for University of Montreal. Apart from that, there are universities like Waterloo and British Columbia. They do offer their program as MS in data science, or MMath as they say. They don't have MS in Canada, but they do have MMath, Masters in Mathematics in Data Science, as they call. So they have a program of one and a half year I feel, and they have a rigorous program which is really good, and it's really highly competitive. And I would recommend you to visit their website and see like what courses are they offering, and what is the current research that they are doing. And if you feel interested into their research work or research lab that their professors are doing, you would definitely need to apply over there. And in United States as well, like there are universities such as Rutgers is there, Rutgers University in New Brunswick, New Jersey. They have a superb machine learning lab. In NC State, from where me and Neil are, they are more system oriented, and they wanted to optimize the algorithm specific. So the courses that I opted personally, that I wanted to pursue my career in, is with respect to optimizing these machine learning algorithms onto the system side, for which I would highly recommend NC State. Other than that, there are universities such as University of Washington, which is the Ivy League university. They offer one MS in data science program, which is which has about almost 1.5 years of tenure. That's a good program that is being tailor made for data science. But again, for all of these universities that I'm talking about, these are some of the universities that came up my head straight away. Again, there are lot more universities, so I would recommend you guys to I mean, feel free to connect with me or Neil on LinkedIn or any other social media. We would be able to share with you guys shortly. We would be happy to answer your questions as well regarding the university and how to shortlist those. but yeah, again, these are some of the sample universities that I that came up to my head straight away, and I gave some insight about it. Other than that, like what subjects to choose, like if you before that I would like to touch upon the topic that specifically if you wanted to do MS in data science, I would highly recommend to have a work experience in India before coming to master's program, because in your statement of purpose or in letter of recommendation, as Neil has mentioned some of the things, they require professional experience as well. I mean, they require recommendations from your supervisor, because they need to be assured that your manager has spoken a lot about you, and he or she is impressed about your abilities and qualities and the things that you are able to pull up. So I would recommend to have at least 2 years of experience, or uh, even beyond that is well and good. But yeah, workex really helps while applying for the MS in data science programs or in the business analytics program as well. um, Except that I wanted to speak about the subjects that can be chosen. So these three topics that you can see, the data analysis, machine learning, and ML ops, I would highly recommend to look for these kind of subjects, like getting the statistical subjects like experimental statistics for engineers, forecasting related subjects, and DevOps, which is primarily related to the operationalizing or productionalizing your code, and neural networks or classical machine learning or algorithms for data analysis. Those are some of the subjects that can be taken, and I think those will really help a lot to pursue your career in data science. So yeah, apart from that, we have gathered some of the interview preparation guides as well. So if you wanted to break into data science, these are some of the links that I have shared. Emma Ding, she was the data scientist at Airbnb. Data Science Day, he conducts the machine learning system design interview. And again, there are certain GitHub links that I've shared as well, which primarily talks about the interview preparation guides for data science. Other than that, the data science interviews are not all about the algorithms or the mathematics, but the initial rounds, they certainly need a certain type of coder, like who would be able to solve a problem. For that, like we all know, these questions has been asked. I mean, the data structure and algorithms has been asked through CodeChef or LeetCode. So for that, I would recommend to practice from these links. You can go to their website of LeetCode or CodeChef, and then see one of the solutions from these particular links that I've shared. Apart from that, system design is pretty subjective. It can be asked for certain levels of data scientist, but not for the entry level data scientists. They do not expect you right from your undergrad to design a system or create an architectural diagram for the system, so that could be scalable, available, and reliable as well. So yeah, these system design, I would say is can be kept aside for now, and it's generally not meant for the undergraduate level students. So yeah, these are some of the references or resources that we have gathered so far, and we would like to showcase those to you. And yeah, lastly, question and answers. So are there any? We would be happy to answer those.
Questions, students?
Sorry.
Aradhana,
Yes, ma'am.
विश्वास, लाइक क्वेश्चंस है क्या, नहीं पूछो एक बार सबसे, और
Guys, are
otherwise
there any
we'll
questions? Like you can comment in the chat box if there are any.
While we wait for
Regarding-
questions, I'd like to just mention that getting into data science is not only possible if you have data science in your subjects. There are kind of careers where you start off as a software engineer, you work closely with data scientists, and you keep learning in that process. You then hop on towards more data science roles, and then you can get into that particular role. So I have had friends who used, who started like as a software engineer or an associate software engineer, and then they were basically loading or gathering data for the data scientists. And where this comes, where the learning comes is, you understand from the data scientists at your organization that they want data in a particular format, in a particular way. So that's where you start discussions with the data scientists at your organizations, and then you start slowly and steadily moving towards that kind of a career. So even if you feel like you don't have enough data science academic experience, or not enough projects to prove that you are a good data scientist, start off you can also start off in this manner and get into that. Yeah, I think that's all.
Neil, you have questions in the comment section.
Yes. I'm addressing those. Yeah, I can see a couple of questions. So, can you tell us something about MSc in UK? I have personally searched for universities in UK, but the courses that I wanted to pursue, I don't find aligning those to mine. So yeah, I haven't personally looked into the some of the universities related in computer science, because the interest that I had didn't meet up with the courses that they are offering in UK. So unfortunately, I would not be able to answer that in a general terms. So I'm pretty biased about it. So Neil, do you have any opinion on it?
No, I think I have just the same kind of knowledge as you.
So second is French mandatory for PG programs in Canada? No, it is not. Again, I've mentioned, like, there is certain university, which is the University of Montreal, which requires the French language certificate. But apart from that, all other universities would be accepting IELTS score, as Neil has mentioned in his initial talk. So yeah, that wouldn't be an issue. But I would say that is not a hard, compulsory thing to have French mandatory for PG programs in Canada. Those are specifically dependent on universities, I would say. Yes.
So in general, it's accepted that you usually need like an IELTS to apply to programs in Canada, and if it's not a university requirement, sometimes it's also a visa requirement. So just check those out before you shortlist those. And yes, I'll take the next question. Sumit is asking if we need to maintain a certain GPA throughout the 4-year term. There's no certain GPA, and yeah, I would definitely I would definitely pressurize on this point that it's fine if you were not scoring really good GPA in your initial engineering years, because sometimes what we face is we still have to study physics or chemistry through our first and second semesters, and we might not be very good at all those subjects. But we are damn good at computer science or data science. So maybe we start scoring really good moving forward. But the GPA is in general the cumulative GPA when you apply. So if you are applying to get into a master's program straight after your undergraduation, usually you go ahead with a 6-semester mark sheet or a 6-semester transcript and make those applications. And if you are planning to take some kind of work experience, you would have the entire and mark sheets from the entire or transcripts from the entire 4 years. So I think it's fine if you score less initially, but pull higher GPA as possible, and then you can move forward with that. And can you explain about collateral for student loan? Yeah, Aryan, hi. So good question. Collateral. So it depends on the organization you are taking the loan from. So I would personally say, a lot of my friends and I took loan from HDFC Credila, and HDFC Credila offers you to either take a collateral based loan or a non-collateral based loan. That sometimes depends on your income. That depends on how big the amount is when you want to take that loan, and you should actually get in touch with an associate or a representative from such loan organizations. And there's no fixed organization. I wouldn't say that HDFC Credila or some particular organization is the only organization that you should take a loan from. Explore different companies or banks that are giving out loans, and compare their rates and go for what is the best for you. What all scholarships we get there? So scholarships, in a general discussion or in a general term, scholarship doesn't generally always mean that your fees get waived. or that you get money. Scholarship can be in any form. So you could get a research assistantship position, a teaching assistantship position, or a graduate research assistantship position where your fees is waived, as well as you get a stipend, a graduate teaching assistant position, which is a similar position. Sometimes it is in terms of a lump sum amount of money that they give to you. Uh, Sometimes it is in terms of interest-free loan. Sometimes it is in terms of on-campus employment. There are different forms that a scholarship can take. And I think a lot of Indian students who come to the USA or any particular country, we usually tend to work along with studying to cover up for at least our living expenses. So you should be able to find some kind of on-campus employment that at least covers like your living or some kind. I think yes can explain.
Yeah. So what I wanted to add into this is, yeah, as Neil explained, it is correct as well. But scholarship is highly dependent on the amount of funding that the university has received. So currently, when we came over here, I heard that University of Baltimore County, University of Maryland, Baltimore County, they had received funding from their alumni. So they were offering, just to lure or attract students, they were offering 70% of the tuition fee waves. So that has to be looked around, and which university is receiving funding, that you have to see. And recently, like again, when we were coming, like NYU, North New York University were offering scholarship for students that are coming onto the fall semester. So they also offered scholarships on the basis of that. Again, that is not the full waiver. Those are, I would say, 1/3 part of the total tuition fee. But yes, they certainly provide the scholarships. Again, for the master students, I would say it's pretty difficult to find a scholarship and full tuition waiver. However, find for those universities, if you wanted to go for scholarship which receives the funding from their alumni connect, and they would be able to give you the scholarships as well. So that is one of the sources that I would like to share. Other than that, the scholarship program is primarily biased towards the PhD students. They because all of the fundings has to go into their research. So for them, getting the graduate research assistant position and everything, and to cover their tuition cost as well. So all of this scholarship is more focused towards the PhD students, I would say. So yeah, that is just one of the key things that I wanted to add. Yeah, Neil, you can continue. Can you please explain the transcript part again? I didn't quite get it. You explained it, right? Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So transcripts part is just, transcripts is a fancy term for mark sheets in a way that is readable and acceptable to universities abroad. So it usually has, like a conversion as to, sometimes we receive grades, alphabetical grades like A plus or double A or something like that. And most of the times our CGPAs are from a 10 scale, and universities in the United States of America, they have like a 4-point scale. So some other countries, each country has a different kind of scale they follow. So this is basically going to standardize the subjects that you took, the number of credits each subject carries, and how you performed on those. So it's a little bit more technical, and usually you apply for those ask for those in your college. They'll directly tell you as to if they can themselves issue it, or you need to go to your university to which the college is affiliated to for those. So I think that's more technical. All you need to do is apply for them, and I think it takes care of itself then. Average GRE and TOEFL scores, that totally depends actually. GRE scores, they are out of 340. I would recommend get a score above 300 to probably get into a target school. Again, there's no average score. I think this is a very ambiguous question. If Yash wants to take on,
Yeah. Just adding to that topic, I would say just one requirement is there, that which is mandatory for analytical writing skills. You need to have a score of 3 out of 6. Below that, they would not be able to consider your GRE score. So you would need to make sure that you are scoring beyond 3 out of 6 for the analytical writing part. Other than that, whatever Neil has mentioned, it is right. And yeah, I mean, there is no average score related to a particular university. You might be able to see some of your friends getting into a university at 310 scores, and some other student who has 320 score might not be able to get through. Again, so how they decides, how the university people decides on, or the how the admission council or committee decides the profile is, they consider a profile holistically. What research experience you had, whether you had work experience in India, you work for a particular industry or not, and then uh, uh, are there any research publications you did back in your undergrads, like what subjects you took, especially in the elective sections, or when you are in the 7th or 8th semester, you have to take the electives as well, right? So it's primarily based on that, how many hackathons you have participated, where and how many of those were you able to win or get some podium position. So yeah, again, it depends holistically. And again, what are your undergraduate GPAs as well. So those committee decides the admission based on all of these key criterias or aspects, I would say. And based on that, they certainly decides whether you'll be able to get through or not. But again, there are certain universities which are pretty biased towards the GPA as well. So you need to target those accordingly, and you need to maintain your GPA. So yes. Yeah, someone has raised a hand, like if they wanted to turn their mic on and speak about.
Yeah, Neil and Ash.
Mhm.
I'm Dr. Sunil Sato. I'm faculty from Lokmanya Tilak College. Actually, my
Hello, sir.
son has completed B. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
My son is planning. He has completed B in IT from
Mhm.
Ramdavadik Institute of Technology. Now he's planning for MS, but his preference is UK. He's preferring UK because the course is of 1 year. So, is there any
Oh.
problem while getting the job that MS 2 year, MS 1 year? Is there any problem in getting the job?
Sir, I haven't primarily looked into the universities in UK. I don't know about the visa status over there, like how work employment work gets performed in United Kingdom. Since, as I mentioned, I some of the subjects that the university is offering didn't align with my interest. So I'm afraid that I won't be able to answer your question um, to the best of my knowledge. But yes,
Okay, one
yeah,
more question I have.
USA you can say, na? Yash, you can mention about US. UK, I think they give 2 years visa. Like STEM, you people get 3 years, no?
yes, yes, yes.
UK, they have 2 years. Sir, शायद 2 years का visa मिलता है. Yash,
Okay,
Yash and Neil, you can just let him know about US at least.
Yeah, sure, sure. So in US, like how it works, there are certain programs which are categorized as STEM, and for STEM, they give you the OPT, which is the optional practical training, and that is valid for 3 years. So you can work in United States for 3 years, and then you have to file H-1B for work visa, which is basically which has been filed, which has to be filed through employer and employer's side as well. Based on the lottery systems, you will get the work visa. So in US, this is how it works. But I'm afraid, like, I'm not sure about how the visa procedure works in UK, especially related to the work employment.
one more question I have.
Yes.
While selecting MS course, which should be preferred? MS in general computer science, advanced computer science, or we should go for specialized branches like data science, AIML, like that? Which is better?
Yeah, that's a good question, though. What I would say is target for the best of universities. If you are targeting towards a specialized course, which is MS in data science, as you mentioned, so I would say target for top 10 schools, and try to get into one of those schools and apply for their specialized MS in data science program, because their courses are rigorous, and they will train you based on whatever the industry demands right now. So again, what I've mentioned in my previous talks as well, that that they give you the capstone project option, which allows you to gain some exposure in the industry, like how the work experience goes upon on the industry level, and how you can take initiative while performing a project. So that is one of the key aspect that the university, I mean the top level university provides as a capstone project. But apart from that, again, for the if you wanted to be on the safer, I have seen personally like people from MS in data science as well. They have joined as a software engineer, to be honest, and their coursework is nowhere related to what they are currently working. So that happens. Again, that I've seen as well. There are so many cases that I know that are currently doing that as well. But yes, I would say if you wanted to specialize in a particular program, I would recommend to target some of the best schools. But again, if anything comes up or if anything goes wrong, then to be on a safe side, I would say to apply for a general computer science program, so that you can. How masters works in United States is that you can pick any of the subjects. Like there are no mandatory or compulsory subjects that has to be there, apart from 2 or 3 subjects. But rest of 7-8 subjects you are free to choose. So you can stitch your degree towards your goal and towards your interest and alignment. So based on your interest, what excites you, right? You can take the subjects accordingly. So that is the best thing. And general computer science would be a safe bet if someone is not able to get through top schools for specialized programs. So yeah, that I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think there are few more questions like, is GATE exam mandatory, and approximate living cost in US?
So that is pretty generic. That is again a pretty generic question. I would say is it depends on which region you are currently in. Again, in California, I know a couple of my friends that came in California for their masters. Like they are spending over $1,200 to $1,300 per month, because cost of living in California is really high. Just the apartment costs them $900 almost, and that to sharing. So again, it depends on how your living standard is. And for according to California standard, it is $1,200 to $1,300 per month. And from where me and Neil are doing our master's program, like for us, it's $700 to $800 is at max that we can spend per month. For us, our just the rent is almost $400. So yeah, you can see the discrepancy over there based on the regions. So again, it highly depends on which university you apply, and where particular region you wanted to live in, and how your based on your living standards, the expenditure will vary. So I hope that answers the question.
Yes, there is one good question that says, on what basis of the application are the scholarships granted? We can combine our answers. I'll start off. You can cover up for anything that I missed on that. So we are accustomed to a system where marks determine a lot of our merit in India when we are applying for our colleges or anything. But yeah, so here it's a more holistic approach, as Yash mentioned earlier. If you have any prior research, you can directly contact like good researchers or professors at the university. Talk to them about their ongoing research. Talk to them about how your prior education or your prior work experience matches what they are doing, and how you can contribute to their particular research. It is more personal in nature sometimes. Sometimes it has a generic application. So it's not necessary that you get a scholarship as soon as you get an admit to a university. Sometimes you come to the university, you build a relationship with the professors or researchers, and then you get a scholarship. So I think that's my part of the answer. If Yash wants to add anything.
I think
No,
we'll
that's
take
good.
the questions after. I'll take the questions from you, and I'll let you know, Neil and Yash, so that we can compile the answers, and I can just convey them. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, that works. Thank you so much.
Yes, that would work. Vishwas, can we have the vote of thanks?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Vishwas Singh. Would like to extend the vote of thanks for this session. On behalf of Lokmanya Tilak College of Engineering, I would like to thank our eminent guest speaker, Mr. Neil Kamlesh Shah and Mr. Yash Ghatole for guiding and enlightening us with their knowledge and for responding to our valuable queries. Thank you so much for talking about your taking out from your valuable time from your busy schedule. I would like to thank DSSA for arranging this program. I would also like to extend my thanks to our principal, Dr. Vivek Sunapa sir, and Vice Principal, Dr. Subhash Sunde sir, for supporting and encouraging us to arrange such an wonderful information on abroad studies. I would like to thank HODs, Training and Placement Officer Prerna ma'am, and faculties of all the departments from the LTCE family. And of course, I would like to thank all the participants for their active participation in this abroad studies session. Once again, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Neil, and thank you, Yash. I think we will end our session here. And
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
A second, ma'am. Actually, guys, fill the feedback forms if you want like more sessions like this or anything. How was it and all that. So, participants, please fill the feedback forms. It is in the chat box.
And please, can all of us switch on our videos? We will have a photographic session. Om?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Om, let us know, huh? Let us know when.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
The speakers must be there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Yash and Neil. Hopefully, we may have another session with you. It was nice talk and a lot of information we could give our students. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for giving us this
Have a good
opportunity.
night for you people.
And
Go and get good sleep.
yeah, we'll get that definitely. But I hope like students found this session useful. I hope they does.
Yes, you could see the
Yeah,
questions, though. I know more questions will come up when I go to class, so I'll just
sure.
compile the questions and let you know. Okay?
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so
Thanks
much
for
for giving us this opportunity, and thank you so much, guys, for attending this. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
thanks for having us, and do connect with us if you have any more questions or
Yes.
anything. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.